Mr. President, joining me on the floor are experts in the budget process, former chairs and ranking members, Senator Murray, who's been Senate Budget Chair from 2013 through 15, Senator Whitehouse, who's Senate Budget Chair 2023 through 2025, Senator Van Hollen, who was the ranking Democrat on the House Budget Committee in 2011 through 2017. We're here to address a fundamental violation of the law, of Law 313, Section 313, and it is the set of rules for reconciliation. To try to summarize this in the simplest words possible, 100 senators voted to have a special fast-track, filibuster-free pathway solely for reducing the debt. First principle was no deficits could be created in a 10-year period. Our Republican colleagues blew that up in 1996 when they wanted to do a tax bill that would create massive deficits. Then, a second pillar was no deficits in any title of the bill in any year after the first 10 years. This bill right now, if this passes, that blows that up. And the third was use honest numbers, Congressional Budget Office numbers. I have a letter here from the Congressional Budget Office, and they say, the estimate is relative to CBO's January 2025 baseline. CBO is required to construct its baseline under the assumptions specified in the Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit Control Act and the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Act. In response to your questions about the cost of Title VII, the question was, would Title VII increase the deficit by more than the $1.5 trillion over the 2025 through 34 period? The answer is yes. CBO estimates that enacting would increase the deficit by nearly $3.5 trillion over the 2025-2034 period, $3.5 trillion. We then asked, would it increase deficits in the years beyond 2034, beyond the 10-year window? The answer was yes. But if you ask my Republican friends, they say, no, no, no. We're inventing a new theory, and that is that anything that the 2017 tax giveaway to the billionaires put into the law that expired after 10 years, we're just going to assume it would have continued, and therefore, us continuing it doesn't cost anything. That's a pretty crazy notion, that if they didn't put it into the bill, the law says it ends, but they say, no, no, it would have continued anyway through some magical way. So therefore, a tax break for the really wealthy costs nothing. This is exactly the type of lying to ourselves, smoke and mirrors that 100 senators agreed to end back in 1974. And that it has continued, that piece of it has continued in place for 51 years, until this moment, in this Senate, by this Republican majority, says we're going to start lying to ourselves and lying to the American people about what this bill costs. But we're not going to lie, we're going to tell you the truth. This bill costs well over $3 trillion over 10 years, and some $30+ trillion on top of existing deficits and debt because of the provisions that are in this particular bill. Our current debt, national debt, that's been run up since the Declaration of Independence is around $36.5 trillion. This bill basically matches that in creating that much additional debt over the next 30 years. This is a huge assault on the programs that we can sustain as a nation for the people of America. People struggling to get on their feet, so we want affordable housing programs. We want to have fair and quality health care. We want to have an education system that gives every child the opportunity to thrive. We want to create a robust economy through investment so there are good jobs, because no government program is better than a good job. All those imperiled by this bill because the Republican leadership is lying to the American people and lying to ourselves. So we're here to tell the truth, and first of all, we're going to turn to Senator Murray, who, as I mentioned, was the Senate Budget Chair from 2013 to 2015.